Welcome to Nacho Fitness Coach,
where we're all about keeping it real in the world of fitness.
I'm Sara, your go-to fitness professional, cutting through the BS to bring you the truth.
And I'm Caleigh, your fitness newbie, here to ask the questions you're too afraid to ask.
From crunches to kale, we've got the inside scoop on what works and what doesn't.
Because fitness should be fun.
So Caleigh, what do you like to listen to when you work out?
I don't know, sometimes a podcast and sometimes music.
Hey, wait, this is a podcast. What if you could have both?
At the same time?
Oh, yeah. Podbeat is a free mobile app that lets you add any beat style to any podcast for your workout. It's easy to do and free to download in the App Store. Caleigh, you sound pretty cool with the trap beat, but Sara, the funk beat works for your voice.
So if you want to make our podcast work for a workout, check it out in the App Store.
They even have Podbeat for Android users in the Google Play Store. Okay, on to the show.
So Caleigh,
What?
your household is the proud owner of an ice bath, right?
We are.
Do you ice bath?
I do not.
You haven't done that yet.
No interest.
None.
Well, I wouldn't say no. I'm curious, but not curious enough to try it.
Did we commit to doing that at one point?
I think probably, yeah. We said we were going to do a lot of things that we never did.
I mean, so it's obviously been a thing for a while.
It's having a moment for sure, the whole ice bath thing. I actually did join a group on Facebook. You know, I love my Facebook groups.
Yeah, you do.
I did join a group for the ice bath curious, such as myself.
Oh, so you have a category that's for you now.
Oh, well, I guess was people it was a range of people who've been doing it for a long time, people that are just getting into it, asking questions and, bragging, showing off it's a whole thing.
I feel like this kind of falls into the category of how do you know somebody's a vegan?
Yeah.
How do you know somebody's a CrossFitter?
Yeah, you can't ice bath and not talk about it or post. It's like running a marathon,
I feel like it's just, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Right now. Don't you just get that vibe?
I do. Yeah. But it is funny. And I'm kind of hoping my husband doesn't listen to this episode because it is his ice bath. But he is a very private person. He does not talk about his ice bath. I don't think he would appreciate me talking. I'm not gonna talk a whole lot about it. Like, his experience is his experience. Long story short, he seems to enjoy it, and I love that for him.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it works for you,
yeah,
then it works for you, I guess.
Right.
And more
I think for him too, it was more building it.
Sure.
Getting it right and all that stuff. But yeah,
made it.
It's just funny. He comes out of that thing and I'm like, he's all red and like, you're crazy. But he's like, you can't feel negatively when you get out. Like, you just have to feel like you just feel good. There is no like a high somehow. Or something. So that's interesting. I think maybe I'll try it at some point. My kids have both dipped in it. He dipped them in just because they wanted to. It's like down in our furnace room, our unfinished utility room.
How does he keep it so cold?
A chiller.
Oh. So what does this ice bath curious Facebook group say?
It's all just people.
Oh.
It's just a group for people to share. So I wouldn't call it super informational.
Okay.
People ask questions hey, or
inspirational. I mean, not really.
I guess it depends on how you garner inspiration. If seeing other strangers in an ice bath inspires you, then yeah, it's super inspirational.
They share pictures?
Oh, yeah.
Because how can you ice bath and not do a video of how uncomfortable it is?
I mean, people just post pictures. People get real aesthetic about it too. People want to have their ice baths in a very with a view.
Sure.
Because a lot of people set them up outside. I wouldn't say we have a great view down in the furnace room.
Are you really doing it for the view
really
though?
Into concrete walls.
Right. Unless you're really into that kind of thing.
Let me pull it up here and see. I actually hid it.
Oh, you have a picture. Well, believe it or not, there's actually a study that recently came out.
That's what it's called. Ice Bath Curious and Beyond.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Well, if somebody's looking for the group, then there you go. Throwing Cold Water on Muscle Growth, a systematic review with meta-analysis of the effects of post-exercise cold water immersion on resistance training induced hypertrophy. That's a really long title for a white paper.
Wasn't listening to the word you said.
European Journal of Sports Science. Now, this is what would be interesting though, is, I mean, this is one of those things where it depends on your goals, right?
Right.
So it's, why are you ice bathing in the first place? You know, are you just doing it to feel better and to get that euphoric high? Are you doing it for muscle soreness? I mean, you'll have a lot of runners that are like, oh, I do ice baths after I run to kind of help with soreness. Well, that's legit. I mean, that definitely has been proven to help
with soreness
and things like that. But if you are someone that has goals of muscle growth,
then you shouldn't.
And you're choosing to ice bath afterwards, you probably want to stop doing that. It basically is the summary of the white paper.
Allegedly.
Well, I mean, it is a systematic review with meta-analysis. So
not allegedly.
I mean, the effects of post-exercise cold water immersion with resistance training induced hypertrophy, which I mean is, I am strength training with the goal to make my muscles bigger.
Yeah.
Is hypertrophy. So
what is it?
Hypertrophy.
Hypertrophy?
I say hypertrophy.
It's not right.
I know. Hypertrophy. I still think that's weird.
I think hypertrophy is a little weird.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hypertrophy?
It's a weird word.
Hypertrophy. But where's the P? It's not an F. I mean, it literally says trophy on the end.
Hypertrophy.
It's
not hypertrophy.
I mean, I know it's not because we had somebody call us out that I'm saying it wrong. How do you pronunciation? Did we do this already? Because I also
no, I don't think we have.
Hypertrophy. Oh, it is. Yep. All right, fine.
Nick, our guest Nick that we've had a couple times, he said it.
I know.
You're the first person I ever heard say the word out loud.
Hypertrophy.
So I just took for granted that you knew what you were talking about, being the expert. And
Google does say hypertrophy. Mm-hmm. I still like hypertrophy.
Well, you do you.
I will. You know, just makes me sound uneducated. Apparently, that's my Nebraskan accent. I just read everything literally. Hypertrophy, fine. I don't get it because there's no F, but it's fine.
Well, PH says
it's trophy. Like if you don't have the hyper in front of it, that literally is trophy.
You're still saying trophy no matter what. Hypertrophy. Oh, trophy.
Right. Now.
But I don't see where I'm not seeing where you need an F to come from. PH makes an F sound no matter what.
It depends because.
No. It doesn't. It doesn't depend on anything. PH makes an F sound.
Okay. So it's the TRO.
It's just you're putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
The emphasis. I have, this is kind of random, but I have a huge pet peeve. Our local high school's mascot is the Husky. Mm-hmm. And so when you say Huskies, it's Huskies. Mm-hmm. And some people forget about general English where you change the Y to I and add ES to make things plural. And so there will occasionally be people that write Husky, the Husky. We do have another local area high school that their mascot is the Huskie, but ours is the Husky. Oh. And this has been a personal pet peeve of mine for years.
You just pick and choose like who's doing wrong in grammar and spelling and
here I'm saying that school spells their mascot wrong.
Okay. Well, you say hypertrophy wrong.
Right, I do. But now we're going to spelling. I completely switched subjects. So it's fine. But I actually then, for high school journalism, I wrote an editorial on our it got printed in the local newspaper, but it was the whole page from the high school, my rant about how people can't spell the singular version of Husky correctly. The ones that put IE, it's wrong. And then my teacher and we went back through, and every word that ended in a Y in the article, we changed it to IE.
Oh my gosh.
It was really obnoxious. But
you're wild.
I am so wild.
Wild.
It was fun. It was very clever. It was really hard to read it though, because it took you a while. At first you thought, when it first popped up, you thought it was just like a typo. And then something went wrong. And then all of a sudden you keep reading and you realized, oh wait, every word that should have a Y, they changed it to IE for the singular version. And we were just trying to prove a point. But anyways.
That is silly goose. Fun right there.
That was not related actually at all. But
no, we're really going down
I can't
a tangent here.
I can't pronounce hypertrophy.
You
apparently.
can.
I can. I choose to say hypertrophy,
You're
but it's
choosing to
hypertrophy. Fine, whatever. So that's
if you
just recently has come out. If you want to grow your muscle,
don't do cold immersion
post exercise.
Okay.
Yes, it will help you.
Cold showers in the morning either.
Well, that's just his personal preference. I think. I don't think that was actually in the review, but
do you ever cold shower?
No, I will sometimes turn it to cold, do a final rinse on my hair. Yeah. Because every now and then you read that makes it like shiny or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I just feel like that makes it really hard to comb it out. So I don't really love that, but it does say that it may enhance recovery and reduce DOMS and reduce cardiovascular strain. However, so if you're looking at like recovery goals, then it could be helpful. Okay. However,
so if you want to grow muscles, don't do it. If you want to recover
and just feel happy,
do it.
It makes you feel happy. Do you think it makes you feel happy? I don't think it makes me feel happy.
I feel like it's one of those things that like probably not in the moment, like when you're in the cold water, I don't feel like that could be a happy thing. Mm-mm. But maybe after you're just like, that was so stupid and silly that I don't know how you could feel. I don't know. We know I have a complicated relationship with water in general.
That's true. You just don't like it.
No.
You don't like to drink it. You don't like to be around it. You don't like to be wet.
No. So
you like it as ice? Because then it's something different.
I guess I feel indifferent about that.
You don't care if it's steam or ice. Just not in its like room temperature form.
I don't like to be wet.
Okay.
So if I am going to put my body in water, I need it to be like a comfortable temperature.
Otherwise you're out. You're done. Well, I mean, you're trying to grow muscle anyway, so there you go. If you have any reason at all that you have to say, I'm out for the ice bath, you say, I'm actually trying to get huge.
Yeah.
Swole.
Ripped.
And just need my muscles to grow. Otherwise, what am I doing all this for?
All this hard
strength training.
My 3-2-1.
So much. I just can't even.
You know what? It's more than a lot of people
It's more than what I'm doing right now. I can't give you a hard time about that at all. But the Tom Venuto is who actually shared this summary of this research and then referenced the white paper that came out or whatever. And he's been somebody that I feel like has a lot of really great content. He wrote a book that's Burn the Fat, Fuel the Muscle. And it is a great read if you are looking for very specific details on what to do with nutrition to support physique goals and body composition goals. He has a great book, and he does a lot on social media. He has a newsletter that's really great. But something else he recently kind of shared was a study on long-term weight loss. It looked over 70 years of research and found that 80% of weight loss losers regain it within 1 year. Yeah, I believe that.
I would agree with that.
I mean, that sounds like a huge number to say 80% of weight loss losers regain within 1 year. But I mean, just knowing from working with clients for so long, the maintenance part is way harder than losing.
Yep.
And to keep it off for like 1 year, that's crazy. So,
well, and I think it also just goes to show you, I was actually, in my group chat with my friends, we were talking about this today because my one friend said a friend of hers is like, got wrapped up in some MLM diet thing. Optavia or something. I don't know.
Oh, yes, because that's the drink, the shakes and all that.
No, it's meals. So maybe it's shakes and stuff too.
Okay.
But I looked it up. It's meals. It's an MLM. And it was like, I'm like, stay away from that because it's very restrictive and it's $400 a month.
That's crazy.
And I said, you can lose fat for free.
True.
You might go into a calorie deficit on this diet,
Yeah.
But it's also like it cuts out like fruits and veggies and
yeah.
whole grains. I'm like, anything that tells you to cut out a certain food group, run.
Yeah, 100%. Because that's just not, you can't, it is not realistic to think that you're going to do that long. And so it's like, what can you do consistently?
When you're not going to pay
over the long
$400 a
term?
month.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
like, I lost almost 30 pounds in the last 2 years.
Just
for free, you know, essentially.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah.
Change some habits. But I think
nobody likes that answer, though.
The faster you lose weight, I think the higher chance you have of gaining it back within the first year.
I think that's even proven, though, too. I feel like there's a lot of people that talk about that. The faster you lose it, the faster it comes back.
We already know how to lose weight.
Yeah.
We know how to burn
don't like that
fat.
answer.
It's like caloric deficit and then calorie maintenance. Get good sleep. Drink water. Move your body. Boom.
Mm-hmm. But maintenance is the hardest part because what will happen is a lot of times people just fall back to old habits. They're like, oh, my diet is quote unquote done. I've quote unquote hate my goal. Like,
you're going to gain
my goal. And then you just go back to doing whatever it was that you did before that got you into that place in the first place. And you wonder why.
Well, why do people not understand that a diet is like why do people think that I'm going to go on a diet and lose, 15 pounds? And then do people actually think like I'm going to do that and then
go back to doing everything?
Going to be skinny?
Yes, I do. I think people just, or they have in their head
much of a super dieter. I guess I never got super into that stuff, so I don't know what the thought process is. But like, if you're not changing, key lifestyle components.
Plus, now you're 15 plus pounds lighter than you were before. So if you go back to eating what you were before, you're already going to be eating too much.
Well, and it's the same thing with this, which I don't think we've ever talked about. This is the big weight loss drugs that are super big right now.
Yeah. We brought up one of them. What was it? Yeah. The semaglutide is the big one right now, right?
Which same thing. It's like, go ahead, do it. You're going to lose weight, whatever.
But the ones that have had success on it have said, but I've also drastically changed my lifestyle.
Right. And then are they just going to stay on that drug forever? Because once they get off of it.
Well, the one that I have seen that, says she was really successful on it. And I feel like I think she said she's rolled off of it. Like it was a short-term thing. But then she also talks about how much she drastically changed her lifestyle.
Well, there you go. But
she's like, right.
Everybody wants a literal magic pill.
They do, 100%.
Shot or whatever, but
yeah. So but that it kind of stood out to me because I'm like, okay, they compiled 70 years of research and found that 80% of weight loss losers gain within 1 year, and that to me just felt. It was shocking that it was that high, but then when I really step back and think about it, I'm like, it's actually probably spot on. I mean, 8 out of 10 people, if you have weight loss, you gain it right back because you don't change. So it's like best case scenario with intensive long-term counseling and support, only 20% kept it off. That low success rate is largely because there's so many mental, social, and environmental challenges to face in the battle to stay lean, which is also very true. They will talk about your access to food, your environment, your culture, like your subculture of your community, things like that. Okay. So then what made the 20% successful? One thing is they were aware of the potential challenges and planned in advance to handle them and endured through them.
Yeah.
So in this study, here were the top 10 challenges to weight maintenance.
So
the top 10 challenges to weight maintenance. So here are the things
that are going to make people
gain it back.
Yeah.
Here's what makes weight maintenance hard. We are definitely coming up, I feel like, with some very reoccurring themes of season 4. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like we've kind of pulled from different areas and we'll talk about it from different angles. And then we're coming up with some very similar lists that we're finding from different people. Well,
I mean, when we sat down and had our super important executive meeting planned out season 4 before we started, we had a really intentional discussion about what direction do we want to take this season. You don't remember that?
I was not present.
Oh, that didn't happen.
It didn't happen. I was like, what's this? Caleigh had a meeting with herself.
There was a PowerPoint presentation.
We planned this out thoroughly, people.
Yeah, right. We have notes.
It's like, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. Just hit record. Ellen, give us a countdown and we'll just roll with it from there. We don't know, but we'll find stuff. And this is actually, because then you're just looking through this list and it's how many things. Okay, so here's the top 10. And I don't know if these are in any particular order, but here are the top 10 challenges to weight maintenance.
Yeah.
Stress, which we've talked about how crazy stress can be crazy to your body, but a lot of people stress eat.
Yep.
A lot of people stress drink alcohol.
Yep.
I mean, that's just a couple of different ways that people tend to cope with stress. And so, I mean, obviously that would not be conducive to weight loss management.
No.
Emotional eating, that kind of triggers, I guess, next one, trigger foods, so you think you're a salty person, instead of just grabbing one chip and walking away, you sit down with the whole bag.
That's so silly. One chip is so silly.
Was that the Jennifer Aniston diet? Yeah. Was it a chip or the M&M?
To both. She has one potato chip and one M&M. Just don't.
Was that how she treats herself, I think? Was it? Or they asked her how she maintains her abs at like 52.
Yeah, they were like, what's your
secret?
Laid out her diet. And then she was like, and I treat myself. I do like, have one potato chip and one M&M. Like, girl, stop.
I wouldn't even do it.
Why would you?
I wouldn't. I would just be like, you know what? I'm just going to chug 8 ounces of water and walk away, because
I would rather throw myself off a cliff
than just have one M&M.
One M&M.
That sounds horrible.
Not going to happen.
No. I mean, I could definitely do without chips. I mean, I would be fine with that too, but
they're in front of me. I'll eat a chip. Well, not a chip. If a bag of chips is in front of me,
eat some chips.
Dude, I've been known to smash a bag of chips.
That's a lot of chips.
Well, it depends on what your goals are.
It depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to eat a bag of chips. Oh my God. Now we're saying the same thing. I had to stop because I knew you were going there. Oh no.
Let's keep going. Let's get through this. Let's trigger
holidays, which, yes, that's true too. It is definitely a challenge to weight loss maintenance.
I think it's one of those things too where you give yourself like a pass big time. Like, oh,
I do feel like
to it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Or, a lot of us have holidays that we have, that those things that we do just once a year. Mm-hmm. And you have memories tied to that, and families getting together and all of the things. We talked
about this, I think, in season 2 on our holiday strategies episode about like, don't eat the whole pie.
Yeah. Just have like one. Yeah. But have one and then just be done with it or whatever. And, but they can be challenging. I do think December is just a really hard month because it is nonstop holiday celebrations. It's not just like Thanksgiving where it's one day.
Yeah.
It just keeps going and going. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Yep. Celebrations, same thing. I mean, but that's the thing where I do also feel like you have to have a strategy. And that's what he did say, is that the 20% that were successful, they noticed the challenges that they were going to have, and they had a plan in advance to handle them. So, you have to look at your own personal tendencies. You have to look at like what's ahead of you and see, one strategy I used to use a lot with restaurants is if people socially, we were going out to dinner and I was in like fitness competition mode or whatever. I was like, I'm not going to let this control my life, because I would run into other competitors. They're like, I've literally eaten out of Rubbermaid containers for 12 months. Yeah. I haven't stepped a foot in a restaurant in 2 years. All these things. I was like, but those are things that I enjoy doing. Yeah. I enjoy the social side of it. I enjoy sitting and just letting someone else cook for me. I mean, all of the things, right? Sure. And so I refused to be the one that was not going to take advantage of going to restaurants. But the one thing, so I was like, okay, this is a challenge ahead. Right. I'm not going to say no because I want to go see my friends or we're celebrating or whatever. But I would look at the menu online in the middle of the day before the dinner, and I would decide before I even went what I was going to have. So I had a plan in place, and then I didn't even look at the menu because, especially as you're getting closer to mealtime, you're hungry. Sure. You're going to make different decisions than if you plan ahead. So I just would not even take a menu. I knew exactly what I was going to order, had it already in place, and I enjoyed every single moment, and it was totally fine. I never left feeling like I missed out on anything. But I had a plan in place, which is super important. So
good job.
Thanks. All right. Lack of time, which we kind of talked about time. Yeah. It just depends on where you're wasting time, but it is what it is. Yeah. Unsupportive peers. And I would say unsupportive life partners too. And family. Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's not just peers. It is crazy how you can very quickly get very unsupportive loved ones in your life when you are looking at not only weight loss and health goals, but maintaining them. Yep. You know what I mean? Like they try to pull you back into like the old habits very quickly.
Because misery loves company.
Misery does love company. Yes, that is for sure. Unforeseen life events. Of course, if you have like a sudden death of a loved one, I mean, that is definitely a challenge. It's going to probably wreck some things in your plans for sure. Illness and injury are the last two. So the questions to think about are, what are the biggest challenges to you? And, are you aware of those challenges either coming up, or think about things that trigger you? Are you a stress eater and you've got a trigger food? Like, why is it happening?
Do you have a plan in advance to handle those? I would say most people, including myself, do not have plans in place for very many of those. I think like with the unforeseen life events, that would be, I'm imagining like somebody ends up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And like now you're living out of vending machines.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. I mean, that's a real thing
like
too, that will definitely happen. You don't always plan for those for sure. But there's a reference on here too, which I love that he does that, because he always calls out the actual information that he's pulling his stuff from. So it's not just, hi, I sat behind a computer and I decided this today. He pulls a lot of stuff from published references that are scientific. So I don't know. He's a good source. That was another great topic. And then actually we just recently had the episode about creatine that we talked about. And right after we got done, we talked about it for that episode. We looked at your stuff, all the things. I had forgotten that I also saved another one of his posts that he goes a little bit on a rant about liquid creatine. Because apparently I have not yet seen this, but
I didn't know that was a thing.
I mean, so apparently this has become a thing where creatine drinks. Actually, you know what? I take that back, because I do feel like there's some energy drinks now that I've seen in cans that will say they have creatine on them.
I've not seen
as an ingredient. So I'm guessing that's maybe what he's kind of referring to here. But creatine itself is unstable when left in liquid. It degrades it into creatinine.
What?
Creatinine, right? Creatinine? Creatinine. See, why are you making me the one? Creatinine? Here, hold on. Let's see.
You know I wasn't going to let that slide.
CREAT. Oh, there we go. It actually auto-populated for me. Creatinine. Yeah.
You said creatinine.
Creatinine? I said creatinine, didn't I? Creatinine. Here, can I?
Yeah.
Creatinine.
Okay.
Now we know.
So it turns into a different thing. It's not creatine anymore.
And we've known this for 25 years. There's still no current evidence that anyone has stabilized liquid creatine. So companies that sell these drinks are scammers. The only proper way to use creatine is in a monohydrate powder. Put it in a glass, add water, stir till dissolved, and then consume immediately. So
is it okay that I'm shaking it? That's fine, right?
Yeah, it's dissolved. Yeah. I mean, you can put it in a shaker bottle. Make sure it's dissolved and then consume immediately. Most supplements are marketed for building strength and muscle, but creatine has been researched for many years and proven to be effective, but it's not magic. But don't waste your money on buying these drinks.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's cool.
So
I just mix it up and then take it straight into the shower and drink it in there while I cry and brush my teeth.
Oh, I'm just such an interesting shower routine. But hey, it works for you. I'm proud of you for habit stacking, though. I love that.
Thanks.
It's a good way to go. So look at you. So, okay. Well, I mean, that's it. That's all we got for today.
I like it.
See? You thought you were going to snooze on this one. I was like, I got something I think we can talk about. Like, this is good. And you're like, I hate it already.
I just looked really boring. What was the topic of this episode, actually?
I don't know.
The guy? Because those were all his posts?
Well, they were all his posts. We kind of started with the ice bath one. Because
we were kind of all over the place.
That was still this episode. I kind of felt like
it. Oh, my God. It's been a long day.
So we kind of started there. Like, we're good. So, I mean, I knew you had one in your house now. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah, we should just... we can talk about that and then kind of transition into the rest of them.
Maybe for the next season, maybe I will, I don't know, just for the content, just for the talking point, maybe I'll hop my...
Isn't everything for the content?
Everything I do is for the content.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
The views and the likes and the subscribers.
Uh-huh. So. Yeah. That's pretty much the world we live in now, isn't it? So there we go. All right.
Alan's going to go get us some pizza and we're going to keep rolling.
Yep. Yes. So that's it. Until next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to head over to our Instagram at Nacho Fitness Coach and let us know how you feel about the topic. Do you love it or hate it?
Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. And if you like our podcast, leave us a rating. See you next time.
You've been listening to Euphony Innovatives Sonified.